Well, actually, it's the Mendip Plateau.
Well, that's it. Ah! Here's my stone! The last stone I need in my little wall. The lowest part of the karst basin with a low pole in the distance leads down into a dry valley where the glacial lake will break over. So we started here 3 years, 3 months ago. It seemed a good place to dig. One, because it had a nice hut, which came off the old cheddar line. It's made out of railway sleepers. 2, there was a supply of pipes. And 3, we could get a digger in here. So we formed a team of about 15, put money in and spent 3 days with a digger digging a hole in the ground. Luckily, the hole in the ground seemed eventually to hit the right spot, and we've progressed downwards now about 130 metres, first 60 odd metres through boulders. Beyond there,
there I was, digging his hole in the ground, so big and sort of round it was, and there was I, digging it deep. It was flat at the bottom and the sides were steep. When along comes this bloke in a bowler, which he lifted and scratched his head. Whoa, he looked down the hole, poor demented soul, and he said, do you mind if I make a suggestion? Don't dig it there, dig it elsewhere. You're digging it round and it ought to be square. The shape of it's wrong, it's much too long, and you can't put a hole where a hole don't belong. I ask, what a liberty, eh? Nearly bashed him right in the bowler. Oh, well, there was I, stood in me shoveling earth. For all that I was worth I was, and there was him, standing up there so grand and official, with his nose in the air. So I gave him a look sort of sideways, and I leaned on me shovel and sighed. Whoa, I lit me a fag, and having took a drag, I replied, I just couldn't bear to dig it elsewhere. I'm digging it round cause I don't want it square. And if you disagree, it doesn't bother me. That's the place where the hole's gonna be. Well, there we were discussing this hole in the ground, so big and sort of round it was. It's not there now. The ground's all flat, and beneath it is the bloke in the bowler hat. And that's that.
the first chamber we found. We're about 10 metres below the surface, probably on one of the overthrust faults. And above us is just a bit more boulders, and then we've got the 7 metres of the lowest through which the pipe was dug and put in. So this is getting into the limestone property.
It's the only way to go in Vurley.
Oh no!
Backwards.
It's all horrible effort. The worst part of digging in the cave, it was dug entirely through the winter, and it was up to this level basically with just liquid wet slimy clay, and we dug 3 or 4 metres down until we hit a gravel bed, and then we knew that we'd beaten the obstruction and we were on the right track to carry on down the cave. Wow. This is Mayday passage. It's found below the gravel bed that led us to the next chamber.
Part of the way along Mayday passage is a very well watered and eroded passage coming in on the left side facing down the cave. This almost certainly is where water drains in flood from the first chamber, and if we'd actually followed the water, if there had been any water when we started digging, we might have got to this point more rapidly.
So, Mayday led down to the squeeze, and Nigel was the first person to get through it. Another chamber on the route. Without these we'd have probably been stuck, because at least then we had somewhere to put the rocks. It was all a level floor when we first started, but the draft was coming in this corner, and this is where we put a shaft. In very wet weather, the stream comes directly out of an oven in the roof and straight down the shaft. The roof here is a major inlet in times of flood, so water pours out of there, down the wall and straight down the shaft in the floor.
Above the hole in the floor at the far side of the chamber, if one looks up, one can see that we are still in a very unstable part of the cave. The shaft was dug in the summer of 2016 and took a surprisingly long time to dig out, in view of the amount of stabilization that was needed all the way down to the base. At the base, an opening was revealed in rather more solid rock, and forward progress was again possible.
Held us up for a bit because there's a very large rock in the roof that nobody much liked the look of. So we put a pillar under it to make it a bit safer.
Burgess and the crawl. Above him on the right, pointing down, is the Damocles boulder that bothered everybody.
Turn the vertical on. Well, Nick, tell us about this rather large wall. Well, here we are in La La Land, and we call this the Great Wall of Vurley, and work was carrying on here summer 2017. Most of what you see was shattered rock from our excavation of the egg timer, but it also, by building the wall, we managed to wall in some very unsafe boulders in the roof. So in a moment we'll be going down the egg timer. It was level floor when we found the chamber. We've dug this 7 metre deep shaft. We got down about 5 metres, scaffolded it, and the whole lot ran in. So we had to start all over again. so hence the term egg timer. But now it's been double scaffolding, laddered, cemented, so it should be okay.
This is the last shaft put a lamp on at the time. And I'm looking down it, and if you go down across, you're in the black space that we mentioned before. And if we go up, see the bottom of the 8-time ring there. Going up the mesh. And here are all the stacked boulders. Oh, you're going to try and get in, are you now? Yeah, well, in a moment. Yeah. Just filming. Yeah, you're off.
That's a snapper wire. Goodbye, Nick. Bye. Nice to see you. Oh, bugger, yes. We're so close. Watch out, don't break the leg. I'm faffing around because I'm knackered. Right, climbing. Climbing. How did you get this down? I don't know, I didn't very slow coming out of the tunnel. That'll be my final saving moment. Whoa! Yeah. That's alright. What did it do? It is, isn't it? Very snaggy rock. Oh, that's lovely. Just stay still. Tell him to fuck off. Alright? Somebody else, hopefully. It is. No chance. The dangerous point currently reached. We're looking down a rift. It's estimated to be about 20 metres deep. With a good echo! Lights up at the roof, Nick. Yeah, up there is Nick. And down again. That's the route down to the next pitch. And now we're looking up the pitch.
with Nick's light at the top shining down. So this is the second pitch with all that nasty loose stuff on it. And there we are looking into the distance along the rift and then round where there's some rather nice mud formations there. And there's his box. And then all the way round to the crawl in behind a boulder. This is the third pitch, or fourth, and this is the bottom of it. Ah, I see what you mean. I reckon it's worth taking a few rocks out of here, Nigel.